Okay, everybody, just a really quick video here that I want to show you guys how to basically start any drawing in SolidWorks. So I'm going to go through a couple of steps here for you, and then I want to have you guys practice on your own just to get a feel of SolidWorks. SolidWorks is one of those programs where it takes practice. It's sort of like Photoshop, where there's a number of steps to it, but once you figure out the process, it's pretty methodical, and the steps are sequential, meaning you always do, step one, then step two, then step three, and there's actually 6 steps that we repeat over and over in SolidWorks. So to get into SolidWorks, number one, launchpad.classlink.com/seals should get you into, I know it says home, but it's because I'm already logged in. So should get you into here. You can click the remote desktop, which then takes you to the remote app. And I'm allowing that to load. You log in with your school email address and your password. So we'll get signed in. And there we go. So in the meantime, you can go ahead and click SolidWorks 2017 to get that to open, and that should just open pretty quickly, just a few seconds to get it opened. The other thing that I want to talk about as this is opening, if you look in any of my 8th grade classes, I sent this out to all of you guys. I'm getting random emails as I go through this too, so sorry. But I did do a post onto Google Classroom, and basically I want you guys to have these as a resource. So every single drawing that we do in SolidWorks, we are going to do these things. In fact, this is what my video is going to show you about right here. So I would print that out or bookmark it or save it to your desktop or something. That's the first thing. The other one is this, the repeating steps. And SolidWorks, as I told you, it is one of those programs where it is complex. However, it's kind of like an algebra problem. You can't solve an algebra problem typically in one step. There's multiple steps to it. So SolidWorks is the same way. There are actually 6 steps that we're going to repeat over and over again. That's kind of how this process is going to work. So this is really going to come in handy for you as well too. I typically post these in my room, right? So let me get these out of the way, and we will go from there. So from SolidWorks, here it is. And actually, let me do my every SolidWorks drawing here. So you're going to, I'm going to see if I can do this, split it into 2 screens here, or at least fairly close to 2 screens. Sorry, taking a little longer than I wanted to, but that's okay. All right. So within SolidWorks, yeah, hold on. I run a dual monitor system, so I can't just bump it off the edges and have it work. So it's a little trickier. And I'm working on a Mac too, for those of you who haven't noticed that. So we're actually able to run SolidWorks on a Mac within a Google browser, which is crazy. So anyway, this is how we start every SolidWorks drawing. Now, one of the things I told you in my last video was that I wanted you to go up here. Notice how we just have icons, and when I roll over SolidWorks, I just have words. We want both of those to show. So if we roll up here and hit the thumbtack, now they're both there. All right. So we either do File New, or we can click this thing right here, and we're going to do a new part. So select File, then New, then Part. So that's this step right here. Do that in every single drawing. The next thing we're going to do is go to View, Hide and Show, and Origins. So View, Hide and Show, Origins, and it drops this thing in the middle of your screen. The next thing we're going to do is select this little gear and then the document properties tab, and then units, and I tell you to make it look like this right here, all right? So there it is, there's the gear, the document properties tab, and units. I always make sure this says IPS, so inches, pounds, seconds, and then I come over here and I make these 0.123, I do it for all these, 0.123 and 0.123, and say, oh, okay. That's this step right here, that you did it. So pretty simple and pretty easy to do that. And I am going to close that out. Now what I should have probably done is bring the repeating steps up. So let me do that over here too. There we go. I can almost see all those. So if you notice in here, as I said, we're going to do these 3 steps over and over again. Well, yeah, let me just go through these. So number 1, click the Sketch tab. Here's the Sketch tab right here. So that's literally step 1. Step 2 is to choose a shape, and I have a square, a line, or a circle. So a square, a line, or a circle. Let's just do something simple, and we'll pick a square. Notice there's multiple types of rectangles. Let's just do the corner rectangle. It's the default one. Step 3 is to choose a plane. So you have the opportunity to select between the front plane, the top plane, and the right plane. For now, let's just choose the top plane, and how you choose it is you literally roll over it, and when it turns orange, you click top plane. So that's step 3. And step 4 is to draw the shape. So I like to roll over the origin. You can see as I roll over it, it turns yellow. That is called a coincident relationship. So I'm not over it, it's not yellow. I'm over it, it is yellow. I'm going to go ahead and click and draw myself a rectangle. So literally step 1, 2, 3, and 4 are 4 mouse clicks, right? Step 5 is to smart dimension, basically giving it an idea of how large you want the object to be. So smart dimension is right here. So if I click smart dimension and I click on an edge, so I click it, notice I can bring this out, I can move this all over the place. It doesn't make sense to put it over here, here, but I'm gonna put it right here. And just give it a dimension. So maybe I make that 10 inches. I'm just gonna hit 10 and hit enter, done. And I'm gonna click this one, and maybe I make this one 8 inches. So 8 and enter. So there we go. We have a dimensioned, 2-dimensional object at this point, all right? The 6th and final step is to either Extruded Boss base it or Extruded Cut it. Now, we've been doing everything in Sketch. To do one of these two right here, we're gonna go over to Features. And notice Extruded Cut's not an option right now because we don't have a 3-dimensional object. You have to have the 3D object to do that. So check this out, Extruded Boss base. I'm just gonna leave this as blind, and I'm just gonna give this a random height. So we're not doing anything for any real accuracy, so I'm just gonna make that like 5 inches. And hit the green check. Sometimes you have to hit it a second time. And there it is. So you've got a 3-dimensional object. So I'm gonna show you guys a couple of tricks here. If you click this button right here, this shows you different viewpoints. So there it is from the front. Here it is from the top. Here it is from the right-hand side. This is probably my favorite view right here, the isometric view. It's kind of like from a drone view, so up and to the right. If you use the zoomer wheel on your mouse, you can, you zoom that thing in and out. Notice I'm zooming it off the screen, so inevitably you're gonna lose it off the screen. If you click this button right here, that brings it back, so that's zoom to fit. You can also hold your, depending on what kind of mouse you have, if you have a roller button on your mouse, if you hold that down, then and I don't have that on this computer right here, but if you hold that down and move the mouse, you can actually turn it. So I'm not necessarily able to do that with the Apple mouse that I'm using right now. So I'll have to work on that. Different resolution there. You can use the arrow keys on your keyboard to turn this thing around. So I'm hitting the left key, I'm hitting the right key, up, down. All right, I'm going to take it back to here. So that's essentially a three-dimensional object that I made with 6 steps. One other quick thing here. I can make it invisible so I can see through it. Go back and do it this way. So I'm going to go back to step 1 again. I'm going to draw something else on here. So step 1, I'm going to click the sketch tab. Step 2, I'm going to choose a shape. I'm going to choose a circle this time. Step 3, I'm going to choose a plane. So before we only had the top right and the front plane. Now you have your choice of any one of these planes. So this side is a plane. That's a plane. That's a plane. The back is a plane. The bottom's a plane. You guys can choose any one of those to draw on right now because we're just doing this for fun. So I'll just pick the top. Step 4 is to draw the shape. I'm going to draw it. Step 5 is to smart dimension it. So I'm going to click smart dimension and I'm going to click on this. This is going to give me a diameter on it. So I like to move my diameters out of the way. So let me make that 2.25 inches. I'll just hit enter. And then the final step here is I can either Extruded Boss base it or I can extrude cut it. Well, if I go back here to features, notice that was grayed out before. And here I can do Extruded Boss base. So Extruded Boss base will make it 3-dimensional. So let me make that like 2 inches high. So now I have, kind of looks like a Lego part, right? I'm going to go back through very quickly and do one more repetition of my 6 steps, but I'm going to do it really fast this time so that I can get through this. So I'm going to go to sketch. I'm going to choose a circle. I'm going to choose this plane. I'm going to find the center of it right here. And I'm going to smart dimension this center. And maybe I make that 0.75 inches. And now I'm going to go to features, and instead of Extruded Boss base that makes it 3-dimensional, I'm going to do an extruded cut, and I'm going to do through all and hit the green check. Now, what's neat about this is you can see that that goes all the way through. And when I view it from the side, if I make it invisible, you can see where that hole goes all the way through there. So all this is just a practice activity, and I want you to title it exactly as that. If you guys go to File, Save As, and browse out to your Z drive and your Tech Ed folder and your 8th grade folder, and just call it your first name and your last name, Practice. And I don't really care what you draw. Just go ahead and I'm going to click Save here. I'm not going to do that, but I want you guys to click Save there. Just save it in your Z drive. And back in Google Classroom, if you've done that, what I'd like you guys to do in Google Classroom is to let me know. Let me know what you called it. Let me know that it's there. You can just say I've done it. Eventually, I think you can actually go in. I don't have the assignment in right now, but if you click this, you should be able to turn that assignment in. And you may actually even be able to upload it to Google Drive as well too. Those are some things that we have to work through and figure out the details together. So for now, if you just want to email it to me or just let me know you've done it and it's in your Z drive, I'll figure out the details to be more specific as we move forward. So good luck with this. Reach out to me with any questions and have a good day.